You join us back for the formation lap of Division 2 of New Horizons Racing League. Round 2 with our custom calendar is Baku. Drivers are away on the formation lap to warm up the tyres and hopefully conserve enough ERS and fuel for the start of the race. Let's have another rundown of the grid. And Votebasher in the Sauber starts on pole position with an extra 2 points, although he wouldn't be giving himself wing damage before the race starts. Collins and Mercedes in P2 starting on the ultra soft tyres. Robot Boy in P3 in the Renault on the soft tyres, going through a different strategy to everyone around him, which, to be fair, if everyone else ends up in instance, won't actually be that bad of a call. Bradley in the Ferrari starting on the ultra soft tyres in 4th place, and his teammate Owen in 5th place, also on the ultra soft tyres, getting quite close to Robot Boy. I think these guys might need to change positions before they get to the grid. Black Prodigy crashing out in qualifying has opted for the super soft tyres, the longest stint of the soft compound tyres. Wishing him the best of luck starting further down the grid, and Tommy with his qualifying ban in the Red Bull is in 7th place, also opting for the super soft tyres. We're taking it very cautiously through the castle section. Pretty steady formation lap so far. Thing is, with the Baku City circuit, it has always thrown up an amazing race as the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, even though it was on the calendar in 2016 as the European Grand Prix. I think, as most of the European Grand Prix have been thrown up some pretty, hate to say it, but boring races. But as the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, this has been a pretty spectacular race, and hopefully in traditional New Horizons fashion, with these low numbers we get some pretty decent racing. And also with conditions looking very similar to qualifying, I'm assuming just for now it's going to be a dry race with no cloud in the sky. They line up on the grid for 26 laps around this circuit. Everyone lining up. Just waiting on the Red Bull to get the grid. So here we go then. Lights coming on. 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. A little bit of a hold for the drivers. Collins getting a pretty decent start. His beastly starts on it. Oh, there's contact between the two. I think that's just only just being without reach of a penalty. Robot getting very greedy with Bradley in the background with the Ferrari driver. Let's head further down the grid. Everyone seems to be away pretty cleanly besides that instant, although I'm sure that Ferrari has now got wing damage. Or is there more action down at turn 3? Everyone seems to be getting through in one piece. Tommy's still not having the best of starts. I would have thought he would have made up a few more places than this. Swamble Prodigy, who's in P5 after a pretty decent start despite not setting a qualifying time. Every driver so far in this session is expected to have had a setup. 3 wide, oh god, they're getting their elbows out here today. But still they get through without any major incident. Just trying to keep the gap to Votebasher behind Collins in 1st place as well. Pretty action-packed first sector, but overall I'd say a pretty decent getaway. Everyone's still getting very close together. Oh no, he's in the wall! The 2nd week in a row, Tommy is under investigation for causing a collision. That will obviously promote the Ferrari's teammate into 6th place, but bad luck from Bradley. It's racing, these things happen, but at the same time to Tommy, you should have been more careful, mate. Yeah, that where the Ferrari crashed, it was the Sector 2, Sector 3 split. Both the top 2 heading into pit straight away. Surely these ultras haven't died. Not yet. Oh, Collins are changing his front wing. Try to get votive. They're also changing the wing in the Sauber. But will he get the jump on the Mercedes though? No, Collins still has track position over the Sauber. No, he's got in front. Strange. I could have sworn I saw the Mercedes leave the pit lane first before the Sauber. Still, these guys closest on track at the moment, having made the pit stops, being about 15 seconds behind the leaders at the moment. Robot Boy leading that in first place. These soft tyres for him starting have actually proved to be possibly a game changer for him. I think this is also the first 1-2 in New Horizons for Renault. Renault obviously being a half decent team in Division 1, with Robot Boy unfortunately still serving a race ban for the Division 1 race tomorrow at United States Grand Prix. A very sliding Mercedes. I think Collins needs to change a few differential settings, but at this point I'd say it's head down, focus on the race in front of you. You don't need to worry too much about your rivals. Just try and stay with him, and fingers crossed it will all go well from here. Just riding board with the two Renaults though, even though they're separated by 2.5 seconds, Robot Boy isn't really pulling away as quick as I would expect. Prodigy is setting the fastest lap on Super Softs. So far he will get a bonus point for the fastest lap. But Prodigy also having missed the Bahrain Grand Prix last week, so this is his first Division 2 race, which is unfortunate, but is a silly mistake on his behalf. But when you're halfway across the world, not everyone's awake at the same time. But I wish him the best of luck for the rest of this season. Taking a little bit of curb, it's not going to be the best exit for him. He has gained on Robot though, unless if Robot has actually made a few mistakes. So I'm bored Robot through the castle section. Pretty tidy. Not bad start from either driver so far, apart from the guys in 6th and 7th. Bradley, if you're watching this later, mate, you will still receive your 6 points for 7th place. And Tommy is still under investigation for causing that collision. Will that be another potential qualifying ban for the next race in China? Was that Votobasher getting a bit too close? Oh no, it's a spin for the Mercedes. Oh no, what was he doing there? He's wiped out the Red Bull. It's not the first time I've seen Collins do something like that, but it's sort of crashed out. Oh, in that incident with Votobasher in Bahrain. It's not the best start for his title fight. His main rival pitting. No, he's in 3rd place now. I think we might have to call a restart. If the red flag does happen, then it will be from the current positions as they stand. I was messaging in the chat. I appreciate your sportsmanship, mate, but you need to be spatially aware of where people are around you on track. Please excuse me for a moment while I try and speak with the drivers and see what we can do about a potential restart. Back racing with New Horizons Racing League Division 2 around Baku after that red flag restart. Tommy has already messed up his start and is now behind the driver who actually ran into the back two. We had to restart. There was no way I was going to let a race continue with only 4 drivers. The sun going down now, so we're going to need to pick the pace up. Who's that going straight on? Is that... Oh, it's Votive. Collins as well, starting from 6th place from this restart, already back up in 7th place. This is very impressive from the Mercedes driver. He's already all over the lead with Robot in the Renault. Everyone also having practically made a free tyre choice after basically a pit stop, and Owen retiring again. I beg that was not an instant between Tommy and Owen again. Although with this being a restart, the instant between Tommy and the Ferrari driver before the restart, it is being postponed unless if they wish to pursue it any further. Robert Boy is setting the fastest lap in the restart with a 150 flat, and Tommy having to take the fast left drive 18 and 19 very carefully without his front wing. I'm very concerned with the fact that there's been another incident even on this restart. But still, oh actually the top three are very, very close together. So Renault scrapped for the win ahead of Collins in the Mercedes. I think Collins is probably the most happiest out of everyone at the moment to have had this restart. Tommy Machini, you didn't touch him there, and more than likely, mate, it was actually desync. Despite the franchise being nearly 10 years old, desync is still an issue in these games, but we'll review that at a later time. Right now they're coming up to the castle section under real racing speed now. Very close, and oh, Collins has gone again. He's binned at the castle. It's probably the most frustrating thing to happen to him. That inherits Robot Boy back into the lead with a Renault 1-2 again. Black Prodigy is still actually gaining on his teammate though. I think if anyone wants to join so far, they will need to come and pit quite early on. Yes mate, I do agree, screw Baku. But still, we have Robot Boy in first place in the Renault, Black Prodigy in second place also in the Renault. We have Bradley in third place with the Ferrari, Votive in fourth place with the Sauber, and Tommy running in fifth place in his Red Bull, very controversially though, in typical New Horizons fashion. Come through Tier 1 and DRS enabled of lap 3 of this restart. I think these two are probably going to provide the most entertainment with us for today. See if we can get close. Yeah, despite the fact being very under 4/10, he's not gained as much as I probably thought they would with the slipstream. I know these cars have a lot of dirty air, but this is a little bit ridiculous. I think they should be gaining a bit closer. Hopefully in the next season we should be seeing more overtakes with the cars being more streamlined. Roy taking a big chunk of curb, but he still manages to get the better exit. Let's see, coming up to the castle section, will there be any drama this time round? Oh, I think Roboy only just managed to get through there, running a little bit wide though, compromising his line. That's going to give Black Prodigy a better run. And it seems to be working for him, but a slight understeer from the Renault. Will they run into the back of each other? Nope. Black Prodigy being very sensible so far in this restart. Still restarting on the super soft tyres. So yeah, I would expect him to be quicker, but the thing is with Baku, with all these 90-degree corners, it's not necessarily the cornering speed that will help you. It will be the drive and your suspension settings, so setup will be key more than anything. I think I can tell you, even, yeah, he's got the DRS open, but he's not pushing ahead as far as I think he would want to. Black Prodigy also setting the fastest lap with a 145 flat on his super soft tyres. But with all the dirty air, I think Prodigy is running a more higher downforce setup so he can make these corners, which I don't actually blame him for, because you've just got very long straights but very slow speed corners, to the point I don't even know if a high downforce setting would actually make much difference, because either way you've got to slow down enough anyway, and the runoff is so small into these corners. A little bit of sparks coming out from underneath that Renault. Vota Basher beating the lap time with a 144 flat on his soft tyres. So yeah, Robot Boy so is starting to drop backwards now. Being very comfy so far in the race. He doesn't need to be going that aggressive. They have over 10 seconds to the Ferrari in third place. I wonder what happened to Vota Basher off that restart. I know he started quite close to where he is at the restart, but I wonder if he has any wing damage. No, that front wing looks fine. He is not going to keep gaining on people if he keeps clipping the walls. I think you do need to treat Baku with quite a bit of respect, in my opinion. Because even though it's 8 meters wide on average, it's you still got to be careful when you're heading around these corners. Yeah, I can see the driver's still not very happy with the Baku city circuit. I think the biggest challenge for Baku really is it's the lack of runoff coming to the corners. I mean, there's a little bit of runoff at the exit of turn 17, but probably not as much as you want on the exit. And Tommy is gone in sector 2. I believe that might have been in the castle section. But we're going to have to see what the strategy fight plays out for now. I wonder if we'll end up even having any cars actually finish the race at this point. It's probably going to be a very long, drawn-out race, especially for Votive and Bradley, unless if they can do some magic with their strategy changes. Robert Boy's still 1.5 seconds behind his teammate. I don't think these two will be fighting too hard. We've got only 16 seconds to the nearest rival. No pressure at all, lads. You just need to keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. Reach the end of the race, get a good haul of points, and I believe Rano would actually end up taking the lead of the constructors if all plays out so far. Unless yeah, even if Votive gets fastest lap and a podium, I don't believe Sauber will be leading the Constructors' Championship. Sauber obviously leading the Constructors' Championship after round 1 in Bahrain with a full 26 points, but still not all the points that were up for grabs. I guess the pole position at the after qualifying would have helped the Sauber's campaign for the Constructors' title. No prizes though for the Division 2 drivers for the Constructors. They have a little few goodies up for grabs, but if anyone does wish to have a fight for more prestigious prizes, then please get in touch and we'll arrange drives for the First Division. The First Division heading to USA tomorrow. Looking forward to that race personally myself. Being in reach of the driver's title, Brown if my nearest title rival does not turn up. But it's all about Division 2 for tonight, and still the Renault's still only separated by about 1.5 seconds. Robot Boy actually doing a half decent job to stay with his teammate, even though they're on different compounded tyres. I mean, Black Prodigy's got the gap, but unless if they decide to start attacking each other late in the race, who knows what's going to happen. Out to 12 seconds now. I do expect the... let's just double check if he is on super softs. Yep, Black Prodigy on super soft tyres. They should last around 10 laps, so he probably will only be finding a little bit of tyre wear just now, but I think he's actually managing it quite well. He's slowly still building that gap that he will need for his strategy call over his teammate. The soft tyres obviously being slower, but give it a few more laps and we'll see if the runners can close up to each other again. So riding board with Bradley, I think he's going to be running a very lonely race, but still running and still able to have points for the Ferrari. With New Horizons we still offer points for even if you don't finish the race, even as long as you're in a points paying position. But with these low numbers, I think we yeah, it's inevitable that everyone was going to finish in the points anyway, but changes will still be up for Season 3. Season 3 of the league is expected to start late July, early August. We'll be putting up notifications on our Twitter, and we'll be asking around in the communities of Formula 1 to try and get more drivers for both divisions in order for the survival of this immense, fantastic league that I've created. Votabash are actually doing quite well to gain up to the Ferrari on the slower compound. I still don't know if that Sauber actually had any wing damage for the first couple of sectors, but he's gained on it. He's gained See the end of this. I'll follow with him until the end of the first sector, because I think he's managed to take a second out of them now. Just for yeah, that Saab is very healthy. Yeah, I think the Ferrari will be risking at worst a 4th place, but I don't think it will be that bad. So I can actually see him in the distance. That Votiv's actually keeping his cool quite well. So 5 seconds. Yep, very careful through the castle section. 4.4 seconds behind. I can see at the top there. Black Prodigy building the gap over Robot Boy. We're up to 2.5 seconds now. This is the gap he will need. 4 seconds to the gap to the final podium position. 3.7. He's gaining. I think give him about a lap or 2, and that Saab will be at front. But if he Bradley's gone. That's actually he's done it at the fast left right. This race, crazy race. So far for the second race in the season, New Horizons will have at least 3 finishes at Baku. I still actually wouldn't count Votiv out for the win so far. I'll be watching the gap between him and a Robot Boy. So will it? It's on the same compound, but Robot Boy on 1 lap, old soft tyres. Yeah, he's still gaining on him. I think maybe the win is a bit of a long shot for him, but if he keeps doing as his pace is, then he should be gaining on the Renault driver towards the latter stages of the race. But I don't know if he'll be able to gain that extra 3 seconds for the win. Especially if they start battling, they'll end up holding each other. That rear end's not very happy through the castle section there. I'm also going to have to apologise. I should have apologised early for my throat. Because of about 3 hours ago, I literally suddenly became ill, so I can't project as much as I would like to. My throat is hurting, so you're going to have to bear with me just for today. Hopefully for next week we are expecting more drivers to turn up, and I think China, it will propose a better race for us, with there being more miles of runoff. I actually think most of these drivers will be hoping to get Baku out of the way. Thus extending the gap to 3.5 seconds over the Sauber in 3rd place. Sorry to his teammate in 2nd place. So I would have loved to have had rain probably come at this point right now, but I don't think we're expecting any rain today, from what I've heard from the guys in the weather briefing. But still, yeah, the gap's kind of stagnated a little bit. I think Black Prodigy's tyres are slowly starting to die, so at this point Robot Boy is going to be slowly creeping up on him. Yeah, it's a little bit stagnant within 1/4 second, between 3.5 and 4 seconds. But at this point, this is where robot strategy will be working best for him. See, like, the lack of runoff there. The runoff at that corner is not where you need it. He does that perfectly fine. Spiraling forward with Votiv, come to turn 16. Does that reasonably well. Turn 17 into the corner where there's a runoff that does not need to be runoff. It's actually on the exit there. I don't even know why that Tech Pro barrier's there. It's just there to cause a nuisance. A little bit tail happy from the Sauber. And down the straight into the start finish line. Still no new fastest lap. Who has fastest lap so far? Just bear with me 1 second. It will be probably fastest lap. Votabash is still having the fastest lap of a 144 flat. It's actually, yeah, unless if the runners actually go for a faster tyre, I don't actually see them setting more fastest laps. Because Votiv's very comfortable in his Sauber. He is not afraid to put it places where most people wouldn't be expecting. As Collins found out the hard way at Bahrain. Another tail happy moment. I wonder if he's actually running a bit more ballast to the rear. That would help his cornering speed, but it's probably not going to help his tyre life. So that position change from the start. Owen just had a dreadful start from the restart. Collins and Tommy still DNFing where they started. At least Bradley did quite well to get some more points on the board for today. But I have to say, I'm actually very surprised that Prodigy is actually in first place. I mean, no disrespect to the lad, but he's in our first division. He's not been with us for the whole season. He's done quite well to get the points he has. But this will really, if he wins this race, this will really put him into the title fight. He's managed to build the gap up to 4 seconds. Votabasher actually being 1 stop. Actually, that's actually a very interesting strategy call. So let me just see the tyres that the Sauber's on. He's on the soft, so he is going to be going longer than the two in front of him anyway. But he did have front wing damage, so unless if the two Renaults make a mistake, Votiv's just going to have to claw this gap back, which is doing quite well. It's within the 20-second mark now. Still a little bit tail happy on the rear end. Big side. Oh, he's gone. He's going to be kicking himself after that. You're going to need to get the car turned around the right way as quick as you can. This game does not like people facing the wrong way. It's more strict about it in qualifying, but I think it's not race over. But he's going to be kicking himself because his shout out of a second place is probably gone. Will that be a mistake he'll regret later in the season? Who knows? But coming through high speed left-handers, where the incident that actually caused the restart of Collins crashing into the wall, reversing at the wrong time and then taking out Tommy. Luckily those guys seem to be getting along quite well, so there's not too much hate between the two. It's always good to have a good sportsmanship between the drivers. I get enough of a headache as it is in my day-to-day life. I know there's only 3 of them left here, but fingers crossed they can still have fun. Black Prodigy's tyres had enough. He's gone for the softs. And Votabasher notably having to pit again. The thing is, he can't really go on any more endurance kind of tyre. Well, at least with a Sauber driver, if he does go into a softer compound of tyre, which I believe, yeah, those are the ultra soft, he will be the quickest on track, so I think inevitably at this point he will end up with the fastest lap, unless if Robot Boy plans on doing a very late ultra soft stint. I think Robot Boy at this point is still the only car left to pit, so we'll see the tyre life of the softs being pushed to the limit. I think if I was Robot, just to play it safe, I would go to the super softs. At least that way you know he could get to the end. The cars are quite spread out on track for the moment. The gap to the runners won't close again until Robot actually makes another pit stop. He's going for another lap. Still no fastest lap from the guys. I'm surprised they're not trying to push it even harder. As points mean prizes, and it means more than anything. with no points for fastest lap in the other New Horizons division, so this is something new that we're trying out, and hopefully it will give us something in terms of the championship fight to look forward to. Renault actually being very comfortable so far. Not that he'd be pushing very hard anyway, well, to try and conserve his tyres perhaps, but absolutely no pressure with his teammate being 13 seconds behind. I think if we're lucky, Robot should have track position over his teammate. Just going to have a chase up of the drivers' standings. So far voted Basher with 26 points after the race win and fastest lap award in round 1 of Bahrain. Robot Boy actually in second place after finishing second in Bahrain, and that's followed by Tommy and the Red Bull in third place with 15 points after finishing third in Bahrain. Bradley finishing fourth, which is still a half decent finish considering the guys that he had around him. I think I don't even know if I think there's actually a clear champion as of yet. I think if there was a midfield, I'd say it would be between the Ferrari drivers and Tommy's Red Bull. But still, Bradley on 12 points in fourth place. Gus Rex, quite controversially in my opinion, in fifth place after he didn't. I don't even know if he was taking part in the Bahrain Grand Prix, considering how far his AI car actually took him. Robot Boy into the pits though, on the set of super soft tyres, not running over the curb on the pit exit as I've seen drivers do before. And in our first division, some poor soul left his AI car on, and unfortunately it took it straight over the curb and into the barrier, and he was not happy after he came back from his toilet break. Collins in 6th place in his Mercedes on 10 points after finishing 6th place. As voted Basher sets the fastest lap with a 1:43.5. So Collins having crashed out with an incident with voted Basher in Bahrain, which again, from finishing 6th place, they'd say he's going to be actually kicking himself very hard, because he knows he can do better. I know him very well, he can do better, but with the shortened calendar every point counts, and you've got to be consistent if you're going to be within fight of a title. And despite the fact that Collins finishing 6th in Bahrain, he still has 10 points for the 2 points for pole position. First inaugural pole position of the Division 2 of New Horizons. Collins' teammate Tadpoles DNFing 2nd from Bahrain, giving him 6 points. Although I still can't get my head around of why Tadpoles retired, how he did and where he did. There was no reason for it. He would have been on for more points guaranteed. If anything, I would feel it would put him in a small position of a title fight if he would have actually finished properly at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And Owen being in the wrong seat after, for some reason, Gus Rex taking his Ferrari seat for Bahrain, so that actually gave Force India 4 points. And we may see the pink cars back on track in Division 2. That's yet to be seen as of driver numbers. Owen finishing in 8th place in Bahrain, rounding up the grid so far. The constructor standings still Sauber 26 points, leading Ferrari on 22, Renault in 18 with Mercedes on 16, Red Bull 1 point behind in 15, then Force India rounding up the back in 4 points. We're just over halfway through this race now. This is actually going a little bit quicker than I was expecting it to. The two Renaults actually getting very quickly. Robot Boy making his strategy work, a dream so far, putting his teammate under pressure. Hopefully not too much pressure. I would like more cars to finish this race. See, yep. So as Robot Boy hasn't set a even faster lap so far. Well, a 144 is not hard to beat on super soft tyres. But I think he's running less downforce than his teammate, which is why I think he's going to be gaining on him quite a bit on this long straight, and he is, but he's not within DRS range as of yet. So for the win of this race, it's a coin toss, I'd say, between the Renault drivers. Take your pick. But laps 16 out of 26 with 10 laps remaining, Black Prodigy in the Renault leading over his teammate Robot Boy, ahead of the third place Sauber of Voted Basher. And the non-finishers so far, 4 non-finishers very early on at this race restart. Bradley in the Ferrari after making a mistake through the high speed right and left to right of turns 18 to 19. Tommy making a mistake, I believe, it wasn't caught, but I believe it was at the castle section. Collins making another mistake around Baku. I was struggling to remember where these guys crashed on track now, but I don't think anyone actually got too close, and then owning his Ferrari crashing out, I think on the first lap of the restart. It was still a very grey area at the minute if it was actually involved in a collision with the Red Bull, but I'll be chasing up the guys if they wish to pursue it with a steward's investigation. Because if Tommy's actually not too careful, he could end up with a race ban, which in Division 2 is, I really don't want to see anyone missing any races. Rope to the inside. So it should give Black Prodigy a better run. He's got in front with the DRS open. If Prodigy can stick with him, the super softs, thinking they'll last around 12 laps, are getting very close through the Renault pair. Barely a quarter of a second between the two. But all he needs to do is stick with him and put him under pressure, make him burn out his tyres, and Prodigy will have this in the bag. I think Votabash are far too far behind to put a higher fight for the top 2 positions. But still, this is a great battle between the pair. It's right on board with Prodigy. See what he can do. Oh no, he's outbraked himself. Yeah, he's gagging to get in front of his teammate. But you don't want to be pushing it too hard, mate. Walls of Baku, just in a way I think it is like Singapore, where it's a wide track, but you make a mistake. I know with it being a street track there's very little runoff, but in my opinion Baku has very, too much little runoff. I know even before the 2016 Grand Prix here, I think it was Jenson Button that actually went around the circuit and he criticised it for having very, very small amounts of runoff, and it would be obviously a travesty if the next Formula 1 fatality could end up being at Baku, and huge safety standards will have to be under review. But Prodigy being in the DRS now, overtaking his teammate for the lead. I think these two are going to be scrapping until the end. Very few finishers, but we should have a very close fight. The poor Sauber running a very lonely third place, but I think he won't have any complaints about being on the podium. These pair just scrapping at each other like savage dogs. I still can't even call this with the different compound of tyres. Oh, and he's gone. Who was that? That was Prodigy losing his wing. That may have just handed his teammate the win. That's just... Nah, that's it's the most annoying thing when you're driving these cars. They go so fast, but with them being so fragile, you literally have a 2-mile-an-hour crash, you lose an end plate. A 10-mile-an-hour crash, you lose half your front wing. You go 50 miles an hour into the wrong angle of a corner, your wheel is going to come off. I just hope Prodigy can keep us cool enough to actually make it back to the pits. It's actually playing into hands of Votabasher now, who's probably unaware of this situation. Oh no, is he gone? Oh, he's out. Oh no! My heart actually goes out to him. That was actually really, really unfortunate. But the last two runners, you just got to keep it on the black stuff. Yeah, it was like, I'm getting confused myself. I thought Vogt actually made another pit stop, but that was from his little spin earlier in the race, and he actually lost his front wing, having to go for another set of super soft tyres. But unless if Robot Boy decides to pit, he's going to have this race in the bag so far. Sebastian getting past the wreck of the Renault. But still, double points finish for both Renault cars. Can't do the maths right now to be able to give you an update on the championship standings, but that should be rectified within the first 24 hours after the race finishes. Black Prodigy complained that his brakes were playing up. I think that's more than likely a higher brake pressure. You'd be surprised that with the how long this straight is, it cools down the tyres to below 200 degrees, and your average brake temperatures on an F1 car actually reach 1000 degrees, and if you have your brake pressure all the way up, your tyres, well, your brakes will go from 200 degrees up to 1100, and there becomes a point where you brake and your car just doesn't stop. And Prodigy's ended up finding that out the hard way. I still wonder if we will see a fastest lap battle between these two. Robot Boy, he does have the gap to be able to pit for ultras towards the end. I think if I was him, I would be playing. I would be waiting for a lighter car, because even though we're within the last 7 laps of the race now, the later the better, especially if you're going to end up going for the fastest lap. Still, Robot Boy giving it everything. It's about 6/10 slower on his fastest lap compared to the Sauber. But still, with this race actually being a bit of a roulette wheel, I think Baku's actually also not necessarily the gambling track, but it's a lottery, I think, for whoever can end up finishing this Grand Prix. Unfortunately, most finished retire very early on. So 2 finishes. I just hope that both drivers can actually still keep it on the circuit. Otherwise, the lowest finishers in New Horizons history would either be 2, matching the Season 1 Monaco Grand Prix. But I think if it gets to a point where one driver finishes, it would be the race would be cut short. We're over the I think we're almost over the 75% race distance mark, so I think at this point full points will be awarded. Prodigy just let me know he will not be in the podium chat, with him being literally on the other side of the world. He's had to wake up early, bless him, and I appreciate every second he can commit with us. So if you want to head back to bed, mate, that's more than fine. We'll just have a word with these two when it's over. Still, Robot Boy not really, no. I mean, he's got the tyre life, I guess, to do it, but the thing is, he can. He's got more than enough of a gap to make a pit stop. It just depends if he wants to go for the fastest lap. At least then he'll be playing it safe, going for a quicker compound of tyre. So he shouldn't be making as many mistakes as the previous guys earlier in the Grand Prix. I think those super softs are only just starting to wear. I can see a slight bit of graining on the rear tyres. Oh, that was a beautiful apex, mate. Yeah, Robot Boy is just in a different mindset, I think, compared to everyone else. He's just so comfortable, even being put under pressure with his teammate. think for me, and considering of where he actually started before the race restart, he's done very well to actually get this far. So he's not even made any mistakes from what I've seen. He's not been involved in any instance, so I'd say definitely driver of the day. Let's ride on board with Salva, see the difference in between the tyre where I think they're growing slightly, but there's definitely more wear on the Renault. See if Roverboy can still keep it on track. I can see it sliding a little. I think tyre wear definitely will be coming into play. I'm just thinking if he'd actually be able to pit. Like I say, he has the gap, but he has a chance to go for fastest lap. But still, not that he'd want to jeopardise the win, but points are prizes. He's going to need to catch up a bit. I think, don't believe if he wins the race and has fastest lap, he would be on matching points with Votive Basher, especially since Votive actually got how many? Sorry, he got pole position, and at this rate he's going to have 27 points. Not 27, 20 points at least for his second place and his pole position, but 21 up for grabs if he can keep the fastest lap. I know they've only had a few finishes, but for me this race has actually gone quite quickly. I don't even know if you call it a race at this point. As a driver's point of view, this is actually very frustrating when you're so far behind, because you're not racing, you want to be wheel to wheel with people, and it's not fun. It's just like going for a Sunday drive. But never give up. I don't think Votive thought he was actually going to get second place at this point, because the moment you do start to give up and you just don't bother, then you might as well have not bothered turning up in the first place. These guys want to win, and who can blame them for it? See Votive pushing that Sauber to its limit still, desperately trying to close whatever gap he can to the Renault driver. Gone through the scene of many incidents so far in this Grand Prix. Let's just see where Robot Boy is on track. Oh, he's coming through the first sector. So I'll roll the Sauber, see if he can make it through the high speed section. He does that fine. I think he actually did that flat out, so he's definitely comfortable. I'm just trying to see what ARS mode's in. He's definitely doing his best, bless him. Robot Boy running in medium. Not that he will need to extend much of a gap. Taking a little bit of a scrappy castle section. See through the I was already just going to make the same mistake of his teammate then. Come up to turn 17. Mounting the curbside, but that Renault's still perfectly fine. Going for the high speed section. Oh, a tiny slide, I think. I think he lap 23 were on, so if we are coming on to lap 24, there are 3 laps left, including this one for Grand Prix. It has gone mightily quick, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys watching it back if it would have dragged on a bit. I'm sorry you've had to hear me probably ramble on for quite a bit, but it's only fair to keep commentating these while the race is on. These guys are still fighting for a position. Try to get a few better shots to that Sauber. I'm pretty sure both of them will be happy for where they finished. I was definitely hoping for more wheel to a race, and I think the start of the race the real start of the race was actually not too bad. It's just a shame that the guys ended up crashing out quite early on. Rover on his 10 lap old supers. I know I keep saying it, I'm sorry, but he does have the gap to go for it, but I don't know if his tyres will be able to make it even though these last 3 laps, unless he starts slowing down, which I would say I think he's doing because Votiv's gained at least 2 seconds. But Robot Boy is free to shred these tyres as much as he likes. As long as he doesn't get a puncture, that probably would be heartbreak for him. Still the gap averaging around 39 seconds. Yeah, the Sabre is catching. But I think we'll see the gap start to stagnate just a little bit. He's still catching. I wonder if Robot Boy will make a last lap dash for the fastest lap. Oh, there's people lining the circuit watching them running in the Sauber. This is more or less turned into a Formula 1 showcase experience. Sauber taking more curve than I would expect. I'd tell you what, some of the most of the curbs around Baku are absolutely dire just because they're so high and I think very unnecessary. Well, even if you try and cut the corner anyway, it's not like you're going to gain a lot of time. I'm hoping Robot Boy actually pits to try and get a faster lap. He only has half a second to find. With his lighter car, he should be able to do it. We'll see what he does with the high-speed section as he starts to finish off the penultimate lap. For box, is he not boxing? No, he wants to win. I don't think he's that bothered about 1 point. But Robot Boy starting the final lap now, lap 26 of 26, with the final 2 runners still remaining. It's been a very dramatic Grand Prix at times, but probably not the race I think the drivers were expecting. It wasn't the race I was expecting, and probably the viewers in the future were expecting. And despite all of this, even with all the cars crashing, I'm surprised they didn't actually have a safety car. Or even a VSC. Considering the crashes we had, and even the huge crash we had before the restart, with no VSC or safety car in sight. But as the sun slowly starts to go down on this race, it's drawing towards the end. Robot Boy just has to navigate the castle section one final time. No, I don't think anything can stop him now. He's got half the lap left to go. He's absolutely dominated this race since the restart. It's turn 16. A little bit tail happy on the exit. Yeah, he's absolutely under no pressure whatsoever. He's just got the final high speed left right to go. Oh no. It was definitely, that's got to be up for the brown trousers moment of the season. But it's nice, it's beautiful, it's delicious, it's the win for Robot Boy. His first win in New Horizons. That's putting him with a very, very good shout of the driver's title in the second division. Best ride on board of the gorgeous looking Sauber. Coming up to 10:20. All he has to do is just cross the line, unless he embarrassingly makes a mistake. But no, that's the race over with. And yep, I'll just give you guys a final rundown of the positions, and I do believe Votive still gets the fastest lap. So that's round 2 of the Division 2 for New Horizons Racing League of Baku. The finishes were Robot Boy P1 in the Renault, Votive Basher P2 in the Alfa Romeo Sauber, the fastest lap time of 1:43 flat. Non-finishers were Black Prodigy in the Renault, Bradley in the Ferrari, Tommy in 5th place with Red Bull, Collins in his Mercedes finishing 6th, and Owen with, I think both Ferraris had multiple incidents with Tommy this week, so at least they all still finishing the points. Right, I'll see you guys in the podium interviews with our top 2. You join us back for the post-race interview of New Horizons Racing League Division 2. Round 2 of this custom calendar of Baku. We have the top 2. Our 3rd place driver, Black Prodigy, is not with us as he's had to head back to bed since he is literally on the other side of the world. But still, we'll have the 2nd place driver, Votive. How was that race for you?
Well, that race was probably one of the worst races I've ever had. Some people were they weren't thinking about driving, and then before they knew it, it was into the back of people, and then they would hit somebody else in front of them. For example, on this at the start of the 2nd grid start, Bradley, I think, hit me in the rear wing, and I went into Prodigy, and then I had no chance from there because I had to pit, and then yeah.
I guess it's racing sometimes, but you still got 2nd, so still congratulations, and you still finished the race. I'm gonna have to hurry on to our winner today, Robot Boy. How was that for you?
It was very eventful, that race was. Had a few nice battles with my teammate, and yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah, the Renault fight has pretty much dominated the stream, and you were having a very good battle with him. Were you hoping for a closer battle towards the end with Prodigy?
Yeah, unfortunately it was just his brakes messing up.
Yeah, I mentioned it in stream that your brakes get cooked so easily around the circuit, but still, we've got Baku out the way. We're heading to China next week. What are your thoughts about that?
Just keep up the good work as we've done tonight, and could be another podium, who knows.
Well, I'm happy that you guys seem to be the most consistent in this division so far, and this could probably be a start of something special for probably one of you at the title, probably literally going down to the wire.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we'll see how it sports out.
So yeah, we are at China for next week. Division 1 will be around USA tomorrow. Links to our Twitter, Facebook and Division 1's YouTube will be in the description. But from Division 2, that was a nice, beautiful, delicious and gorgeous race dominated by Robot Boy. So I've been Connor, thank you for watching. I'm sorry that it probably wasn't the race we were all expecting, but we got through it in the end, so we'll see you all in China.